Mexico's sex offender laws are tough, but not tough enough, according to the feds. And the state stands to lose lots of money because of it. A deadline to meet new federal standards for sex offenders has passed, and as of tonight, New Mexico is not meeting the mark. News 13's Tim Iestis exposes the reasons why in tonight's special assignment.
These are just some of the faces of the more than 3,100 registered sex offenders who call New Mexico home. Each one listed on the state sex offender website and tracked by county sheriff's departments as required by law. But according to the U.S. Department of Justice, New Mexico should be doing a lot more, and failing to do so comes with a hefty price.
We have complied with everything that we can do administratively.
Regina Chacon heads up the State Department of Public Safety's Records Bureau. She says New Mexico stands to lose federal funding for failing to comply with the Adam Walsh Act, a federal law passed in 2006 that strengthened sex offender registration laws nationwide. In order to meet the federal standards,
New Mexico needs to add new crimes to the Sex Offender Registration Notification Act.
But that hasn't happened yet. Chacon points to a series of bills presented to state lawmakers over the last 5 years. Each would have made changes to the state sex offender registration laws to satisfy federal requirements, but none made it into law. The issue is lost in state politics. Exactly what do we stand to lose? About $270,000 in grant money to pay for things like DWI and narcotics operations and for life-saving equipment like bulletproof vests.
The people outside this capital, our residents in the state, they're the losers in this.
Republican State Representative Yvette Harrell was one of the last lawmakers who sponsored legislation that eventually failed. Hers never made it out of committee.
So it would have brought us into compliance 100% with the Adam Walsh Act.
Harrell's bill would have required New Mexico residents who committed their crimes outside of the U.S. to register in the state. It also added more crimes defined as sex offenses and increased the amount of information sex offenders have to provide to the counties where they live.
It doesn't make sense that a bill that is basically nonpartisan and would be a good bill for our public would not pass through this chamber and the other chamber and not go all the way through.
There's so much complexity and so many interest groups involved that it's very difficult to get these bills passed.
Democratic Representative Antonio Maestas also sponsored sex offender legislation during the last regular session. His bill passed both chambers of the legislature, but the governor vetoed the bill because she felt it didn't do enough to comply with the Adam Walsh Act. In fact, the governor's office says in some ways the bill would have weakened the state's sex offender registration laws. Maestas insists his bill would have moved the state closer to full compliance.
I believe it was vetoed for political reasons.
The lawmakers are aware that we will lose federal grant money.
According to Chacon, the Department of Public Safety will try once again to get the laws changed during the next legislative session in January. The governor's office tells us they're working with the Attorney General's office on a bill that will actually satisfy members of both parties. Chacon says the Department of Justice has made it very clear New Mexico's sex offender laws need to become stronger.
What we're hearing is it's just not enough.
Tim Iestis, KRQE News 13.
State officials estimate New Mexico is about 85% compliant with the Adam Walsh Act, but many other states are in the same boat. DPS expects to hear any day now if the feds are willing to give New Mexico more time before yanking the grant money.